So let's do the Excel spreadsheet. So can you guys pull up your Excel spreadsheet, passive portfolio? Can you just pull up the pull it up and go to the we'll just leave it like this. So you don't have a front test for December.
Just for.
No, just for September.
Were we supposed to move?
We'll do one more.
So I'll
Tell me when you have this up.
get it up.
Okay. Tell me when you have this up. Okay. Who doesn't have this up? Who needs more time? Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
No, these guys aren't ready. I can't race ahead because I leave people behind. So you guys have to learn some patience. I know it's hard.
You got a new book or this? For the notes.
How come you wear a Cubs tie and a Giants tie?
Because my wife's from Chicago and I'm from San Francisco.
Why?
When I go to Chicago, I wear the Cubs tie. I'm very popular.
I bet.
Guess I'm a little bipolar, right? Okay, you guys ready? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So you have your 3 front tests, okay? And you have your back tests and the target page. So you're going to print these out in order. Okay, starting with the 3rd front test first. Okay, and this is how you're going to print them out. Okay, so watch. So you're going to go up and you're going to highlight. Highlight just the section, make sure your date's updated. Make sure it's updated on all of them. Okay? So there, then you're going to go to margins. Go to custom margins. First thing you're going to do, we'll go to page first. Let's do it in order. And it's going to be landscape, fit to page. Okay? Then you're going to go to margins. You're going to go center on page horizontally and vertically. And I think that's it. Click OK.
You just do criteria.
Then, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Then you're going to print. You want to do file, print, or there it is. You can just do print area. So go file. Print area.
To that highlighted section.
I guess let's see what happens. Is that it?
So now there should be a dash line around the whole thing, kind of showing you what you're printing.
Yeah, that's it. So that's how it looks. So you want to print all of them out that way, and then put them in order. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have this like this. Okay. It's going to be so when it staples, when I take the memo, I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to be looking at the report. So let's go to the memo. So you're going to print out those pages in order, and this is going to be your cover memo. Okay. So you're going to have to change the date and then put your team here. And then what you need to do is you need to modify this. So it should say passive portfolio or passive growth or passive income or static or something with a colon right here. And then you're going to put this portfolio is dominated by, what is it? Tech, consumer goods, and healthcare. So go down. Up. So go colon, and it should say technology, comma, consumer goods, comma, and healthcare. So I know right off the bat what kind of portfolio it is and what are the 3 dominant sectors that the portfolio is concentrated in. Okay? And then none of this, all this stuff stays the same, okay? So use exactly what this says, okay? And I'll tell you what to modify. We recommend DTC, which is Derivative Trading Corporation. We are Derivative Trading Corporation, okay? You're all managing directors, you're analysts, managing directors. I'm the president of Derivative Trading Corporation. And basically what we do is we're a boutique hedge fund, investment bank, and consulting firm. We do trading, we do exchange traded funds, mutual funds, we design portfolio strategies for large single accounts, we design trading strategies, we do investment banking, we do consulting, we do everything. Any way that we can make money, because we're a private company. Okay, so we're very nimble, very flexible. So we're DTC, Derivative Trading Corporation. Okay. We recommend DTC launch a new series of retail, institutional, large cap, passive growth portfolio products. So yours might be mid cap, large cap, mid cap, if that's what your portfolio is, or maybe it's large cap. Retail portfolio products. Retail is you and me, mom and pops, okay, the individual investor. Institutional portfolios are sold to institutional portfolios, such as pension funds, endowments, and maybe there's other financial institutions that want to brand our products as their products and distribute our products through their distribution channel. We'll do that too. And we'll get royalties and fees that way too. We really don't care, right? You can take our strategies, you can take our ETFs and mutual funds, you can slap your name on it. Just as long as we get paid, I don't care. DTC, moderate to high returns. Yours could be moderate returns. This could be high returns. In this case, it was moderate high returns with low to moderate risk. So right off the bat, this is the thesis statement. So you might have to change it. Our targeted investor segments are both institutional and retail clients with an aim of a 50-50 split for $3.5 billion in total AUM, assets under management, in 5 years. So our goal is $3.5 billion in 5 years by having 50% of our clients be institutional, 50% of our clients be retail. So if I make 1 percentage point, 100 basis points on 3.5 billion, how much are we making in fees?
3.5 million.
35 million. Can we live on that? Yep. So that's how much, so that's what it is. The desired holding periods are 5 years, because the average holding period for most investors are, basically for retail investors is 5 to 7, and the holding period for institutional investors is 10 to 20 years. So the desired holding periods are 5+ years for retail clients and 15+ years for institutional. Our fee will be 1% of AUM, leading to a total gross fee revenue. It should be leading to a total annual gross fee revenue of $35 billion. Woo! Yeah, okay, so right off the bat, the paragraph basically told you everything you needed to know about this portfolio. Okay. Along with the lead up here. Now let's get into the analysis. So these, the formatting here is a little messed up, okay? I'll take this, but usually these are flush along the top. Your headers are flush along the top. So I'm going to get rid of this space right here. Here is our gross returns. These are not net returns, net of fees. These are gross returns on the portfolio. Okay? And these should have been centered in the res. I don't know why you have them like that, but these should have been centered. So here's your back test, and here's the forward test returns. Okay. And your weighted betas right here. So right off the bat, I can tell, I can see your performance, your back test, your forward test, and I can see what your risk profile is, your systematic risk. Then we have the S&P 500 returns. We subtract the S&P 500 return from our return to get the alpha. Okay? This portfolio did 604 basis points of alpha. So it's 6.04 percentage points above the S&P 500 consistently over the last 10 years. That's pretty damn good. Okay. And then 5-year, the 3-year, the 1. So you can see that the portfolio consistently beat benchmark. And actually this should be 1.0, 1.00, so it matches. Okay, any questions? Okay, next. Now we have basically the portfolio concentration. Not only does it give you sector concentrations, but it also gives you the individual stock concentrations for the sectors. Yeah. So that's awesome. So very quickly I can see how the portfolio is concentrated down, which totally ties back to the return and risk, the beta and the return.
Do you want total in every column?
Yeah.
The word total?
It is a little redundant, isn't it? I'll leave that up to you. It doesn't really bother me.
Okay.
And then go down. So here, and this doesn't change much either. So the format's pretty much there. You're going to have to clean it up a little bit. Description, our portfolio is purely large cap, mostly domestic, with moderate to low risk, and consistent annual returns of 600. I would actually do a dash, 2 dash, with some spaces on each side of the dash just to be a little cleaner. Returns of 600 to 700 basis points over the S&P 500 benchmark if you want to add that.
Is that your annual returns for like how many years?
So what we did was I went back here and I kind of used, just kind of looked at the averages here.
Okay.
So it looks like it was between like 600 and 700 basis points. So I just kind of looked at the
That's the
average.
alpha then. So
The alpha is just the difference between the portfolio return and the benchmark. It's the delta.
over there, are you writing the alpha or are you writing the annual returns?
No, it just said consistent annual returns of 600, 700 basis points over the S&P.
Alpha. So you're mentioning the alpha.
Yeah, so so that's the alpha, because that's what we want. Right? We want to, returns are okay, but I'm really looking for, can you beat the benchmark consistently? That's what investors are looking for. Even, this is just a passive portfolio. This isn't an actively traded portfolio. But to be able to beat the benchmark on a passive portfolio is pretty good. It's obvious because you have most of your returns in tech. Right? And then you have healthcare, which is, that provides constant growth and provides dividends, right? And then consumer goods are, pretty stable, but, food prices have been going up, fairly rapidly over the last 5 years, and that's created, returns on stocks and consumer goods. And then here, target market. We're targeting individuals and institutions looking for a stable product to add to 401ks, IRAs, and other retirement accounts, or more volatile portfolios. Our product also has the potential to be turned into an ETF in the future. I would turn that around. I would say our product is recommended to be turned into ETFs, right? Because we can always modify it and then create exchange traded funds. Okay. Target portfolio size, we hope to raise.
We will.
Yeah, we will raise 3.5 billion, so I would get rid of it. We how do we say it? We're not going to say we hope.
We will. We are.
No, we will's too strong.
We aspire.
Aim.
What can we aspire?
No,
We aim.
there's another word.
We
It's,
target.
Our
Like a
targeting.
corpus, like a target corpus.
Our goal, our goal,
Yeah, hope is kind of like.
our goal is to raise,
Our goal is to raise. Our goal is to make the.
our goal is to raise, get rid of is to raise 3 point, is to raise, no, actually, put that back. Is to raise yeah, it's totally aggressive. It's pretty aggressive. It could take years to do a $3.5 billion fund. But Schwab can do these things. They have the distribution channel. I mean, when I was at Schwab, they did an equity fund. They launched it on Friday, and by Monday morning, they had over $1 billion. That was 10 years ago.
So how likely is the investor gonna be like, so you're putting the information that it might be turned into an ETF? How is he like likely to react to it, like positively or negatively?
Positive.
Why is that?
Well, we're actually, this is not being, you're misunderstanding. This is not a memo to the client. This is a memo to the investment committee, to our company. You invented this product. You're trying to convince the investment committee to approve it so that we can launch it and raise the money.
Oh,
You're trying to sell me, the senior management team.
so is the ETFs being like before the exit for the clients or after the exit?
No, we're gonna launch mutual funds, ETFs, single accounts. You know, it should actually say, it shouldn't even say recommended. It should say, we plan to launch a series of ETFs based on this core portfolio strategy. So we're gonna make fees on the ETFs, we're making fees on the mutual funds, we're making fees on the assets under management, in the single accounts. We're making, your core portfolio is the core product that we're gonna create augmented product and complementary products on.
Also, one more thing, when you say series, I
A series of exchange traded funds.
So like, what is series?
Well, basically, this is your core portfolio, right? So now what I can do is I can change the sector mix. Right, maybe bring this down, you know, bring this up, because you've already set a core portfolio in assets today. Now what you can do is you can change the factors, okay? This is called factor tilting. You might want to write this down. So I'm giving you information here that you're not going to get in the book, that you're going to get in the real world. So basically what you did is you built a core portfolio based off of the market cap weights, right? So that was the first approach that you did. From that core portfolio that you built, you can now start tilting the factors, such as tilting the factors that designate the sector allocation. So now what I can do is I can basically do weighted permutations, changing the sectors and changing the individual stock weights based on additional research. So I can change the factors. Yep. So this is basically a beta model. Okay, this is a factor model. The weights in the portfolio are determined by the market caps. Okay, that's what makes it a static portfolio. Okay, what we can do is this is our first permutation. This is our first product. Okay, that we built, and it performs. Now what we can do is we can change the sector weights or change the individual stock weights and create a smart beta portfolio. Smart beta by factor tilting to the different sectors and the individual stocks. So this is a static beta portfolio using market cap. Now what we can do is we can create a series of exchange traded funds based on this core portfolio by changing the sector weights and the individual stock weights as we start to do more research. If you start to weight the sectors and the individual stocks away from this core portfolio, the static portfolio, you are factor tilting and creating smart beta portfolios. Does everybody understand? Because the goal is you don't want to just invent one. You want to create a core portfolio and then start manufacturing permutations off the core to basically sell more ETFs and more mutual funds. That's what Schwab does. Vanguard, Fidelity, they build the cores, they start changing the factors, they push out more product, they get more assets under management, they generate more fees, they get more money, everybody's happy because they're making money. Bonuses, salary, vacation, healthcare, education, certifications.
So when you say factor tilting, the 25 stays the 25, right? Or do they swap if need be?
Go back to the Excel spreadsheet. This is the factor,
Yeah.
okay? These are the factor weights, okay? If I start changing these, let's say I want to start overweighting, financial services,
Yeah,
because
I
of
get
bottom
that.
out and stuff like that, I'm factor tilting
Okay.
towards financial services.
Yeah, so when you're saying they sell the different ETFs, whatever, that's just factor tilting. They're not.
It's just factor
They're not
tilting.
touching,
I'm
swapping.
just changing, the weights
Yeah.
of the sectors and the individual stocks to basically match market demand
Yeah.
that's coming from us. So we sell the first core portfolio, then we start factor tilting based on more sector and individual stock weights, and we make permutations. And we issue them strategically or tactically to get more assets under management, because at some point in time, the one portfolio is gonna max out. Okay, you're only gonna have like 5 billion or 3 billion in. Well, if you only have one product that you're selling, you're going out of business, right? So you start to manufacture more portfolio strategies, factor tilting them, creating more ETFs, more mutual funds, more portfolio strategies to sell to clients. Okay, so let's go back to the memo. We're almost done. Our product, our plan is to create a series of ETFs based on this core portfolio strategy.
I know like IRAs and all, what is 401ks?
401ks are basically plans that are brought. Let's say Schwab has a bunch of 401k plans. They go to Salesforce and they say, hey, we will offer you a series of retirement accounts for your employees, and they can just pick which ones they want to invest in. So it's called qualified plans. They're pre-tax, tax deferred. Okay, but they're employer-sponsored accounts. When you get fired from Schwab, you're going to leave. What you're going to do is you're going to take that 401k money and you're going to roll it over into a self-directed IRA. You're going to hire an investment advisor to help you manage it. So as you move through your career and you work for multiple companies, 401k, 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 roll over into a self-directed IRA, roll over into a self-directed IRA, roll over into a self-directed IRA. So you're in control, not the company. Because if the company goes out of business, it's a startup company, you're going to lose your 401k. Because they're going to take the money.
During your career, did you accumulate capital gains on 401k?
You do not pay capital gains until you start to liquidate portions of the portfolio after 59 and a half.
So your capital gains like
It's
accumulate?
deferred, yeah.
Okay.
That's why the trading strategy I'm going to show you is this portfolio strategy. If you're building your own portfolio strategy within your own self-directed IRA and you're generating returns, there's no capital gains because the capital gains are deferred. If you're trading within your IRA account, you're paying no capital gains, on your stock trades. So it's the perfect vehicle to basically manage your own money if you're good at it. And then what you do when you turn 59 and a half, you can start pulling money out and you won't pay any penalties. The money you pull out will go to your income and you'll pay the income tax and whatever the income tax level. But at 79 and a half, you're forced to liquidate these things over a 30-year period because the government wants their taxes. usually it would be carried over, but if they stole the money, then you don't get anything. Usually they steal the pension.
Thought that the 401k was kind of linked to your employer.
Do companies ever embezzle money from their employees?
That's true.
Yep. So you gotta be really smart. Large companies, it's not really a problem, small companies. Although there's been large companies that have misappropriated retirement accounts. I think Enron did something like that. So let's see this. Target portfolio size, our goal is to raise a $3.5 billion fund. AUM split evenly between retail and institutional clients at roughly 1.7 billion each. Retail, actually there should be a time period here. So our goal is to raise a $3.5 billion fund.
Wasn't it 5 years?
I would do 2 commas here. $1 billion fund, comma, over the next 5 to 7 years. About right? 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, black time is 7, 5,
4 to 6.
Yeah, so 3 to 5 years, maybe 2 to 4. So if we're a really good company, we can get to 3.5 billion pretty easily. But it does take time to raise the cap.
I mean, the
So
maturity will
let's just
be,
say, 2 to 4 years. So comma, look at the next, comma after the fund. Over the next, maybe put a space right there. You need to watch this, because I'm gonna be, don't make me go back and have to correct your papers again, because you weren't paying attention. And then right here, put a 2, TL, right there. And put a dash right there, and a
it's
dash
already
right there.
there.
Dash there, dash there. Okay, perfect. That's the way it should be. So 2 to 4 years, comma. With AUM split evenly between retail and institutional clients at roughly, I would say of instead of at. Roughly 1.75 billion. Holding period retail investors, 5 can do this 2 things here. 5 to 7 years, and say and, just use a comma here. We don't need the semicolon. Get that comma out of there. And then comma there. 5 to 7 years, institutional investors, 15 to 30 years.
How do we institute a holding period if it's public securities?
How?
How do we institute a
This is,
holding
it basically tells you, this basically gives you an idea based on the data, return, clients, you want to, what's the holding period? What's the holding period return? We need to know what the turnover is in the portfolio. If we have most of the portfolio made up of retail clients, then we got to go out and backfill the AUM as the clients start to sell off their portfolio, start to sell this off. So it kind of tells you, what the duration of the portfolio is. Okay. So it's usually easier to raise from the retail clients than it is institutional clients. But you kind of want to communicate that you understand there's a difference between retail and institutional clients, and that we're selling our products into both markets. Okay. Did you have a question?
What other markets would we explore?
Foreign markets. Domestic and foreign, both retail and institutional. That adds in a bunch of stuff I would do.
So this tenure of like the 5 to 7 years, or like 15 to 30 years,
It's the average holding period for most retail and
it
institutional.
only starts after you have accumulated all the money, or like?
No, this is just the holding period of the product.
So let's just say if you, like the first 2 years, you get like.
No, it has
$30.
nothing to do with that.
So they have to hold around
The
that.
pro- No, most retail clients hold their investments 5 to 7 years. It's all we're saying.
You don't have to, they can sell your product.
You can do anything. What we're doing is we're guiding the investment committee, telling them basically the duration of the portfolio and how the portfolio is going to churn. So we got to start worrying about, if we have most of our AUM in retail, then the portfolio is going to start self-liquidating in 5 to 7 years. Unless we have institutional clients to backfill it and basically keep the AUM up for 15 to 30 years. Because we want to be generating fees for 15 to 30 years. Yep.
I mean, isn't saying 15 to 30 years kind of a large gap?
That's just the old holding period for institutional investors.
Yeah.
That's all that we're stating here. Okay. The fact is, based on the research and the history of investment management, retail investors hold their securities on average 5 to 7 years. Institutions, 15 to 30 years,
You know,
because they have longer term liabilities. That's all I was trying to do. So this is your memo. Are you guys working on your memo now? Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so now we have.
Can you zoom out?
So now we have the memo, we have the reports. Right? Hello?
yeah.
We have the report. So we have the spreadsheets, the memo, either clipped together or stapled together. If you staple it together, don't have it all messed up. Have a nice and clean staple. Okay? Not like 5 staples. All right? Okay, so now let's do the PowerPoint presentation that you're going to do next Thursday. Yep. You guys are all presenting those Thursday. You've already run through your presentation with me with the spreadsheets. Now you're going to do the formal pitch to the investment committee. Okay? So you might want to come dressed, because that's not going to work if you're going to pitch a $3.5 billion fund to a bunch of USF grads that have been in the business for 25 years running a multi-billion-dollar company. So you need to, no motley crew t-shirts. So you got to come professionally dressed next Thursday to do the formal presentation to the investment committee. And then we're going to vote on it if we should approve your portfolio. Okay. Is everybody focused? No? Now I want to go through the PowerPoint presentation. I'm not really fond of this PowerPoint. I think the colors like personally. And it's not Derivative Trading Corporation. They misspelled it. They said Derivative Trade Corporation. And there's no logo here either, which is unfortunate. But we know right off the bat what kind of portfolio it is. It's a large cap diversified portfolio. We know who the people are. This should be centered. There should be a day and a date. Okay, on here, do not mention USF. Do not put my name on the presentation. Okay. Make it look professional. So that's basically it. Go to the next slide. So basically, we have the presentation outline. So we got the sector allocation, major holdings, target market, portfolio performance, technical analysis, recommendation. This is the final report, so we're going to pack this up. Okay, this is like the final. And I would use bullets. I wouldn't use dashes. Okay. So go to the next one. And I wouldn't use squares, I would use rounds. Okay. There's actually a slide missing here. Can you go to the bottom? Can you do me a favor? Can you copy that and bring that to the front and make that the second slide? Or the
Portfolio.
I would actually make it the second slide.
Is this the presentation before Thursday?
Yeah, you're going to be making this presentation
Next Thursday.
next Thursday.
Oh, next.
But I want to see it. Now, I want the recommendation first, okay? Now, why would I do the recommendation first? Because the first slide, the second slide in the presentation.
Attention span.
Totally.
It's your hook.
You got it. Right on. Exactly. You don't bury the lead. Okay? You tell them right up front, right off the bat. So let's see what the recommendation is. We recommend ETC launch a series of retail and institutional large cap portfolio products. target moderate to low risk and moderate to high returns of, let's just do it right there. High returns of, and then, hold on, just put X right there, right now. Just say of, X, and then let's go to the spreadsheet.
Right.
And let's look at the, actually, let's go to the memo. The memo's probably. So what's the average return here that we're going to put in the recommendation page? What do we put?
CAGR.
What do we put? What's the expected return?
Expected return is around 600 basis points over the.
I probably want to. I'm just trying to get on. No, what's the return? Expected return.
For 1 year, 2 year, or
You tell me.
The weighted average.
Based on your, what would you use?
5 year.
Okay.
19.3.
Okay. Why did you pick that?
Because that's like the holding period.
Okay. Anybody else?
Would be 10 because it gives you more longevity.
Yeah, I would probably use the 10. Okay. So I would probably be safe. I would say the expected return on the portfolio is probably between 10 and 13%.
Oh, you went lower?
I would go lower. Don't I want to give myself a cushion? Do I want to oversell this thing? You got to be careful because you may not hit the performance. So I always try to be a little bit more conservative. Plus the 3 year and the 1 year are not really indicative of the long-term performance of the portfolio. So moderate to high returns, 10%, just a little percentage share,
We'll make the presentation.
10%, space, -2, -13%. Space, over the holding period, get rid of total. Over the holding period. I would probably bold that. Right here, is that like the most important part of the whole thing?
Would you show that to a retail investor with the holding period is just like 5 years?
Huh?
Where the holding period for retail investors like 5 years?
I'm gonna show them all of that stuff. I'm gonna show them the back test performance.
Retail investor?
Yeah, because I have to disclose. I have to, legally. And I have to disclose at the end, at the bottom of the prospectus, I gotta state that history is not an indicator of future performance. So product warranties, right? We gotta warn people, product. Over the holding period, target investor segments are institutional, 1.75 billion, retail client, totaling a 3.5 billion AUM portfolio within the next 5 years. I would say 3 to 5 years. So put in 3, and then put the spaces in. No, right there. Okay. With our fee structure, and the fee structure should be in there. With our fee structure of 1% or 100 basis points, however you want to do, 1%, you don't need basis points. Because everybody knows that 1% is 100 basis points. 1%, comma, we expect to generate total annual gross fee revenue of all $140 million.
Wait, it's not annual.
Oh yeah, that's the total, isn't it? Let's turn it to, what is it?
35 million.
Yeah, so it's 35. Total annual gross fee revenue of 35. I think they were looking at the whole time. 35 million. Okay, so what does that tell you? Basically tells you, gives you an idea of the risk return, what the return expectations are, what markets you're going to sell into, the size of the portfolio, how you're going to get to it in the next 3 to 5 years, what the fee structure is, and how much we're going to make. Isn't that what we care about, senior level managers? Got it. Now show me the, and then what I would do is I would copy that, and bring it down, and put it in there. presentation. Okay, now go back. Okay, let's look at the outline. We may need to, I would do recommendation. We already did it. Recommendation there. This is going to be, actually, we want to move this around. What do we want to show first?
Like the portfolio overview.
Yeah, we want to do, actually, what I want to show is the performance. Want to start with the instruction? Feed them into it? Or just give it to them?
Well, I mean,
I would
You
just
want to
give,
torture them a little
this
bit?
is not bad.
show
Yeah,
the
you already
performance.
got their attention, okay, let's torture them.
I would just show the return.
Okay, so let's do the outline.
Show
We'll
the
go back
return, show my
here.
fees.
So go here. So here's your sector allocation. What I would do, is here's your passive portfolio. I would do market capitalization, and show me the percentage. Large cap, mid cap, and small cap. Because that's going to tell me a lot about the return and the risk. These here, this is your last portfolio. This is the one you're going to do at the end of the semester.
So just delete that out.
Yeah, I was just doing it. And then center it. Yeah, you don't need this. And then market cap, you're going to have large cap, mid cap, small cap, and you're going to have the allocations right here. And if you have, if you're doing a foreign portfolio, you'd have domestic and international, and give you the percentages if you're doing international. So market cap, you just have 3. You don't need these. Yeah, you don't need those. And then you might have large cap, mid cap, small cap. And then you want to center. So now we know the sector allocations, and we know the market cap weights. Okay, go to the next one. And then the largest holdings. So I get rid of these 2, and I would show the top 10. I would show the top 10. You don't need this, you don't need this. And then what I would do is move this over. Move it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it shows the top 10 holdings within the portfolio. The top 5 is the most important. Okay, go to the next one. Yep,
The slide before this,
go back to the slide before.
you said small, medium, large, we have to write that
Large
out.
cap, medium
Yeah,
cap,
yeah.
small cap.
And, but even though those wouldn't make up, like, what if you're purely large caps though?
Yeah, I want to see that allocation. If it's 100% large cap, I want to see it say 100%. The others are 0.
Okay.
Because other people are going to have mid cap and small cap allocations. It's a formatting issue.
But she's taking percentages from only her top 3 segments, tech, consumer goods, and healthcare.
No, this is the total portfolio.
What does it add up to in total?
It should add up to 100.
Okay. Oh,
It
okay.
does add up because this is an example.
Okay.
Okay, these are dummy numbers. Okay. So you're going to have to fill those in. This should add up to 100. This is just a template that we're cleaning. All right? So go to the next one. So these are going to be your major holdings. Next. Okay, here's your target market. These are your target markets.
Slide 7 on there, should that go for the next slide instead of the start, or slide 8, excuse me, the performance, to, kind of stick with the theme of performance?
You can bring it up front if you want to, but we have recommendations that they want to go through the composition of the portfolio before they present the returns, which you could go either way. You could go either way. You already told them what the expected returns were anyway. And then here's your passive portfolio. It should look like this. This is actually pretty good. The formatting looks pretty clean. Alpha, our passive portfolio generated roughly 60 to 730 basis points in returns over a 10-year period with a better than average beta. I don't think beta is good or bad. It should be with a lower than average beta.
Below index.
Lower than
Yeah, below
benchmark.
with the beta lower.
Lower than benchmark or just lower than?
How about
Over the
is it moderate low beta,
moderate.
moderately low beta, lower than the market beta?
You could just say with a beta
With
below the
the
benchmark.
moderately low beta
I
of
feel like you could just simplify that. With a beta below the benchmark.
Let's just put that in for right now. With a beta lower than the benchmark. So what's missing from this slide? It doesn't have a summary. So it should say up here, expected return, expected portfolio return, 10 to 13%. Expected return 10 to 13% over the whole year. Right? Because that's the first thing they want to see. Then they're going to analyze this. Then they're going to read this. Then they're going to go back and look at this. Because you're not helping them, just giving them the data and having to make them work, figure it out. You need to tell them. And then make it exactly that centered. And then capitalize these two. And then, let's see, undo escape. That's centered. Bring it up just a little bit. Perfect. Let's see. How's that look?
That could go a
See,
little
it's
bit of
flush.
right.
You have this, there needs to be a 0 right there. Okay. I don't think you need the NA right here. This alpha right here needs to come down here. I don't know if you can do it. You can center it in the row. There's got to be a, yeah, you got it. You center it in the row. Perfect. So you want to clean up these slides. If you're presenting this to, the investment committee and all these men and women are making, $1 million, $2 million a year, do you think that formatting is important? Because they're gonna, if the formatting's off or you have any errors in here, then they're gonna think you have errors in your model.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do we have to put the time frame for the
No. Because expected return insinuates that it's 10 years. Okay? All right, so let's do the next one. So we're not doing active, we're gonna do that next. And then next one. So what I would do is, what you want to do is then build on this deck. And then what you're going to do next time is you're going to present the passive, then the active. Okay? And then the last presentation you're doing passive, active, target. But actually what you're going to do is you're going to read the target first.
Oh, you did the time.
We're going to present the target first. And then we're going to show the active, and then we're going to show the passive. So we're going to reverse it. Reverse the order.
But for this Thursday, it's just passive and target.
You're just doing the passive.
Oh, just passive.
Just passive.
no target?
No target, no active. Make sure you save this. After you've updated this one, save it. Right? So you're saving the original, and then you can start deleting this stuff. Okay, so get rid of that. We're not doing this yet. That's gone. That's gone. Not doing the technical stuff. This is the final presentation. That's gone. slides going. So the passive is pretty straightforward. So we have the, go back, we have the title page, recommendation, presentation outline, you're gonna have to update this. The sector allocations, the market cap allocations, major holdings, target market. Nope, so get rid of that. So you're gonna have to go back and fix that column. So that, you know, it flows. No. I would just say, I wouldn't put anything.
Yeah, 'cause you said to re-add it at the bottom.
Yeah, but that's okay, we're not gonna,
Oh.
we're not gonna leave that. We wanna start with the recommendation, and then
Yeah.
we're gonna finish it. So we got the holdings, we got the target market, who we're gonna sign this into, the size of the market. You can go back and do the target market, well, let's see this one. We're gonna modify this one, right here. So click on that. That one right there. All right. So this is how it's gonna end, right? The end of the semester. These are your portfolios that you're creating. This is the total AUM. These are the different fee structures. This is the AUM gross revenue that we're gonna generate. This is the total revenue on the 3 products that you're gonna create. So we only need this one. Right, so I'm gonna delete these rows and this row. You just have just this row right here. Yep, and then get rid of this. Get rid of those. Yeah, we don't need the total because we don't need it yet. Okay, and then you put it right in the middle of the slide. And you may want to make this bigger because the font sizes are off. And that's not centered in the middle of the row. Okay. And then this is all messed up here. These aren't centered in the row. Okay, there they go. And then make the font sizes the same. Make this font size a little bit bigger than this one. Oops. Okay, go, unwind it. Oh, there you go.
The portfolio structure was.
Yeah, you're gonna have to format these along the, flush along the top. Yeah, he did it up here. It's right there, and on the bottom. There you go. Okay, and then increase this font size. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, how's that look? Is that
I feel like
okay?
it's equivalent to the font on the top.
No, it has to be.
Beautiful return.
Sit right in front.
Let's get rid of this space right
See the
Like
numbers.
a beautiful, kind of
Construction.
There's too much space. Can you shrink it? Can you just shrink it down? See, and bring it down. Yes, okay, you can play with it. You get rid of that space. It's not very clean. So here, so now we have the fee structure. I would bring this down too. It's too far. Right there, perfect.
That's good.
Okay, and it's, I'm gonna bring this over just a little bit. Bring, yeah, right there, and bring this over. Over, right there. Perfect. This is what you're gonna be doing, okay? Does everybody understand? Hello? In the back, you guys? This is what you're gonna be doing, okay? You're gonna be like totally neurotic putting together these decks. You're gonna do the research, you're gonna build the deck, okay? And it's gotta look beautiful, all right? Doesn't look beautiful, they're gonna be upset, okay? So go to the next slide. Okay, we already looked at that. That one's already done, and then this one. So portfolio managers. So who's your portfolio manager? Who's the portfolio managers in your group? In your group, who's the portfolio manager? Raise your hand. In your group, who's the portfolio manager? Raise your hand. Hi. Okay, who's your portfolio manager?
He's not here.
Really? Fire.
He didn't show up today.
So you want to put the portfolio manager right here. Almost all portfolio managers, finance majors,
Take it up.
all portfolio managers have PhDs or CFAs. They have PhDs, most of them have PhDs and CFAs designations.
We have investment analysis.
Okay, all right? So put whoever the portfolio manager is,
Got it, got it. You get it
a
next.
CFA PhD. The next is the equity, senior equity analyst. Okay, senior equity analyst, you all have CFAs. Okay. And then the equity analyst has a CFA too. You all have CFAs. You can't do the research. Okay. You can't be a portfolio manager without the CFA designation. Some have MBAs from Ivy League schools with concentrations in finance. Some have Masters of Science degrees in financial engineering or, financial analysis. They may have that. But this is how. And then usually here, which we don't have here, usually there's a line up here above these. There's a date field, and you guys sign it. You sign it. You sign it. Okay. You sign the research. You sign off on the research. Okay. CFAs have to sign off on the research. It basically states that you did the best of your ability to collect the data, to do the analysis, and the recommendations that you're making are the best of your ability. Okay. It wasn't based on bonuses or based on influence or based on payoffs or unethical or immoral behavior, because you're legally bound to this stuff based on securities law. Okay. But you don't have to do that, or you guys can do it if you want to. Okay, that's how it looks. Okay, there's no appendix to this. It's a very simple presentation. How long does it take to do this presentation?
Oh, the presentation.
Yeah, like if you were to get up and do the presentation,
Shouldn't be
how long would it take?
5 minutes.
Really?
It's already done.
Really?
I mean, without a Q&A.
It's 8 minutes. 5 to
5 to 10, that's
Yep.
right.
Yeah, just take us through it. I mean, we're smart people. We've seen like 100 of these things. We know exactly what we're looking for.
There you go.
Take me through it. Sell me. It's the research. It's our recommendation. We recommend that you approve these products.
Do you want the fee structure breakdown after the portfolio performance and before the
I
recommendation?
don't know. Let me see what it looks like. Can I see this right here? Can you increase the view? So I can see what it looks like. Oh, there you go. So recommendation, outline, portfolio overview, holdings, target market, fee structure, portfolio performance. I actually would probably take the portfolio performance and put it here. Right here. Right, because that kind of makes sense, right? So here's the performance, here's our target, here's how much money we're gonna make. Boom, we hit them again at the end. Go ahead.
I thought you said based on suggestions, it's better to show that later.
Well, we already set it up here. So the recommendation is we're gonna build our case. Then we're gonna show them the performance, our target market, and how much we're gonna make. And then we're gonna hit them again on the end. And then here's the team. All right? And then what you would do, ideally, you can decide if you're gonna do this, is you would print out the presentation in color. You get a clear cover. You get a spiral wire, black spiral wire, and a black back, and you bind it. And then you take the memo that's attached to the report, lift up the color, the clear cover, insert it in there, and put it on their desk. So when the investment committee walks in, the report report's right there, the deck's right there, all around the table, the report's ready, you're ready to make the presentation.
Makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Should we do that for Thursday as well, or?
You can do it, you know, show me what you got, you know, this Thursday, do it in black and white. And then, I'll take a look at it,
Just one, or should we print like?
just
10?
one draft,
Okay.
so I can check it,
Yeah.
clean it up
Mhm.
over the next, on Thursday and Tuesday. So that if you wanna, I highly recommend you formally bind it, for next Thursday, so you have a perfect copy of the memo, the reports, and the deck. And then that becomes your, sample that you can show prospective employers. That becomes part of your portfolio. Okay. The memos, these decks, you're gonna be doing 3 of them. Those are all gonna be stuff that you can use, that you can show people. Maybe you get lucky and you get a associate analyst position in a investment bank or a brokerage firm. They're gonna ask you, have you ever done any equity research? Can you show me some products that you've done? Can you show me some example of work that you've done? Can you go, can you give it to them? What do you wanna see? Passive, the active, you wanna see the whole portfolio trading strategy report? You wanna see the memos on the markets that we did? What do you wanna see? I brought the whole portfolio. All right. I think that's it. Anything else? Okay, how much time do we have?
Half an hour.
Okay.
No.
So I'll do I'll follow up on what we left off with on the pretest. Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit over the effects of the attack on this
Yeah.
weekend?
Absolutely.
On just stocks.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like on market opening, the price is skyrocketed,
Yep.
but it's already slowing down.
That's right.
So it was functioning as a buffer.
Yeah. I can.
Release all those. You gotta take some course or something. I don't know how you
The gas prices constant.
Yeah.
Our Excel is like, can you like forward the Excel to both of us?
Yeah, just do it in one email, like both.
Hey, honestly, yeah.
Let's do
Do you wanna make the presentation for
This
Thursday?
is the presentation, she just.
I know we're supposed to put in a board.
Okay, that's 5 minutes.
What's wrong with me?
I want to see, I want you to put the deliverable together on what you have.
Yeah, just send.
Then I want to,
Okay, cool.
then I want to look at it again on Tuesday. And then I want to see it on Thursday.
So we're just gonna be building up on it.
You're building.
Because like,
Yeah.
okay, so we just,
Yeah.
we,
Because if I don't do it this way, people will
so
hand
we
it
don't
in.
have to actually handle a little bit.
You will, on Thursday.
You know, oh, okay. No, but like,
We have to actually,
We're gonna do the juice.
no, we have to come Thursday with that package.
Don't worry
So
about
you
it.
said,
Next Thursday.
If you want to do it,
No, bro. The memo's due this Thursday, right? The memo's due this
let me explain
Thursday.
this, and then don't ask questions. That whole package, right? You say you have to buy
part of the package, it doesn't go
He's saying
in.
by this Thursday,
Portfolio
come with
is
the rough
separate.
draft in black and white.
Part of the deliverable
So you can look at it, and then
What
over
are
the
the
weekend, you
bigger-
revise it, and then
What are you
come
trying
back.
to do? I mean, the bigger packet is
I want
always
to see it on Thursday.
The bigger package.
30-page
No,
question.
the
And
bigger
I want to see
package.
it again on Tuesday, because not
You're
everybody's going to
jumping all over the place.
So I want to see, I want to start cleaning it up. I get my 305
You're gonna
class.
print, remember he said in color,
We've already
print it,
gone
whatever.
through.
We're done with the portfolio. All
Do
the
that,
benefits is based
do the memo, and
We do the
PowerPoint,
If I didn't go
all
through it,
together, that's not the
maybe you
deliverable,
can
this is totally separate.
We do that.
This is just.
So I'm basically checking your work to make sure that it's good, that the deliverable package is good, so that I can review it on Thursday, review it on Tuesday, so that when you hand it in on Thursday, it should be perfect, it should be really good. If it's not, I'm not gonna take it, okay? I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna take anything that's not perfect, okay? It's gotta be good. Because I don't grade based on what you've done up to the point. If you've done a really good job and you've completed all the assignments and you've delivered the deliverable up to that point and and it can be actually accepted by me, I'll take it. But if there's stuff missing, it's out of order, it's unformatted, you know, the memos are not, you know, the analysis is not correct, then you gotta go back and redo it, because I'm not gonna take it. I'll waste my time grading it, right, and you need comments. Okay, because because I got like 20 of them. Plus my other classes, I got 90. So I got 110 of these things. Counting the other classes, I got like 200. And they're all basically in the same form. So me and my TAs can sit down, and we all been through these classes. We can all go through them. We can all give you comments. We can help you out, give you suggestions and stuff. Give it back to you. You keep the stuff that's graded. You rework the stuff that's you need to work on. You resubmit it until everything is really good. Okay. So that's the methodology. You guys just aren't
Hey,
used
we'll
to
do.
it. You guys just aren't used to it.
Presentations like these.
And the class grades.
Honestly, it's all.
In the deliverable.
The memo?
This,
Give me your
There,
class.
it is.
Give me
We just need to put in.
Give me everything.
Of our AU.
We just went over that at the beginning of the class. Yeah, you take care of it.
Yeah, the color
The memo was, what we said,
Stop.
DTC, right? DTC?
Derivative trading.
But is that what we're putting on the memo?
Yep. Derivative trading.
And the,
DTC.
is the AU also gonna be $3.5 billion?
You can make up whatever you want.
Oh, really?
We just used
Is that
3.5.
the,
But 3.5 is pretty high. Two's probably about one.
I thought like $1 million or $10 million was the AU.
No.
No, that was just the initial capital and.
So AM could be in,
It's gotta be relevant.
I mean,
What
like,
kind of portfolio are you constructing? If it's high risk, all tech, you're not gonna get 3.5 billion.
no,
Because
it's moderate.
risk neutral investors are, but if you have a moderate, moderate high return with moderate risk portfolio that's beating the benchmark index over a 10-year period by, 200 basis points, you can get a couple billion under management in probably a year or two.
So the AM could be anything, like let's say the portfolio is moderate.
Go look at some mutual funds. Go find some mutual funds or mutual funds that are similar to your portfolio, and look at the size of the portfolio in assets under management. Look at the years since inception. Divide the AUM by the number of years, and it'll tell you how long it took for that portfolio to reach that level, that AUM. But sometimes the AUMs will cap out. So I might have a mutual fund that's been around 15 years, but it hasn't gone over 2 billion. Because people are like, I bought that product, I want something new. It's like anything else, right? Why would I buy one mutual fund? I'm not. I'm gonna diversify my money across multiple mutual funds or multiple ETFs.
Yeah, see, that's why I was kind of questioning the 15 to 30. Like, I feel like a lot of people or institutions, they wouldn't want to stay in one. They could have
The institutions will stay.
The institutions would.
Yep. Individuals won't, they'll rotate out. All right, next. Is everybody clear? What the expectations
Pretty
are,
much
what the
done.
deliverables are?
The AU could be legit
Okay.
$3.5 billion all the way through.
In the pre-test, at the end, where did we leave off? We finish all the supply demand analysis?
Yeah, around
Yield
product
curve.
innovation and engineering.
Okay, perfect. 'Cause that's where we did, that's what we did in the last class. So I'm just gonna walk you through it. This is the solution. You wanna take a picture class? It'll be quicker to go through this than the last class. Night classes are tough. They are really hard. The ones that start at 7:30 and go till like 10.
You'll have the worst.
Oh my God. I get home at like 11:30, 12 o'clock, I have my dinner, I'm in bed by 1.
1:30, yeah.
No.
It's so
How
hard.
many classes?
I didn't do that.
Okay.
I was doing 2 this semester. And I couldn't figure out why I was so tired. Seriously, dude, there's like, God, I'm getting old. And then when I stopped teaching the night classes, God, I feel great. It's like,
Yeah, I haven't taken the 10 o'clock ones, but I have one that goes to
yeah, they're really hard.
It's like, what if
You gotta drink lots of water,
Multiple 10 seconds.
go right to bed, you gotta be really disciplined. So let's go through this. This is really important. I designed this model years ago when I came to the realization that finance has basically changed significantly. The way that finance has been taught over the years is, and the way that I think that finance is continuing to be taught is pretty myopic. Okay? When you teach these books, corporate finance and the investments books, you kind of follow along the book, right? You study these subject areas, you run these mathematical calculations, and do these problems, and at the end of the day, you don't even know why you're doing it. You're just basically learning the material to pass the exams, to meet the requirements, to get the grade, to get the degree, to get out, to go do something. Okay? But what I realized over the last 10 years is that finance is a technology. Finance is the development of technologies. Securities are basically technologies that basically solve problems. So the engineer, the financial engineer, along with the securities attorney, along with the product developers, identify problems in the marketplace. Either interest rate volatility, stock market volatility, credit risk spread volatility, hedging, risk problems, wealth accumulation problems. There's all these problems. But the financial engineer, which is what you are, the financial engineers understand the problems and understand how to engineer the products and the process using finance to develop the products and the processes to solve the problems. And if the problems are large enough, they manufacture the solutions, which is the securities, that are then distributed into the marketplace, and they create a capital market. Okay. So stocks are basically just contracts, standardized contracts, that are basically issues of ownership by a corporation. Once the IPO is done, the stocks trade on an exchange, and that becomes the market. They become part of the stock market. There's also preferred stocks, convertible preferred stocks, convertible bonds. There's derivative contracts. There's swap contracts, swaptions. There's synthetic options. These are all financial product innovations that basically have been designed by financial engineers, then distributed into the marketplace to solve problems. So basically, you're not studying finance, you're basically studying marketing. It's marketing at the end of the day, and it's management. So the presentation basically states, the thesis here is that if you want to create a company to product innovate, finance product consistently over time, you don't want to be on your cell phone constantly, okay? You want to be, listening to me and not staring at your phone the whole time, since you were not in class for like 3 weeks. So you have a lot of catching up to do. Okay. So stay focused here, please. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but it's like when people go dark on me and they're not focusing and taking notes, it really drives me crazy. Because what? It costs you $250 a class. Is that what the number you came up with? Plus opportunity costs, and basically cost you or your parents $500 a class.
I think it's more than that.
Okay, so if you're wasting your time in your class, that's over $500, and probably, if you're not getting the knowledge, that's probably $1,000 a class, right? Or $10,000 a class, right? Because you didn't learn the material. Okay, so you lost totally on the potential for earnings power because you weren't paying attention. So what does it take to create an environment, to create a company that creates financial products? Okay, that's the goal. What are the characteristics of innovative companies? Now we have fintech companies. The large companies, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Merrill Lynch, UBS, Credit Suisse, Santander, All of these companies, along with the hedge funds, are creating investment vehicles, they're creating financial products, they're solving problems for clients. Either private products or public products. So we are financial engineers, we work in innovative companies, we solve problems by innovating product and solutions, process and solutions, and we use technology to do it. So what's the first thing that all innovative companies do is they constantly scan the market. They're constantly environmentally scanning the market, they're scanning the environment constantly. Why? Because markets change. People change, markets change, demographics, regulations, governments, all change. And that creates opportunities. And if you can see what's changing and what problems are emerging, and you can solve the solution, you're gonna benefit from it. So you gotta constantly scan the environment on a constant and an ongoing basis. That's where your market analysts and your economists come in. Those are usually doing very strategic level background analysis. And your company has to implement change management strategies. You gotta be comfortable changing. We need to restructure the company, we need to swap out new employees, we need to train new employees, we need to hire new employees, we gotta reorg the company. They're very comfortable doing that. So change management, and one of the biggest reasons why companies change is either through market competition, when they're forced to change, or change in regulation. So if you look at the financial services industry, particularly the commercial and the investment banks, prior to the financial crisis, they were very different organized. They were all trading companies. Assets under management they weren't focused much on that. They were not really focused on real estate or alternative assets. They were mostly into trading fixed income and equity securities and basically underwriting and writing derivative contracts and trading derivative contracts. After the financial crisis, we restructured the industry under the Dodd-Frank Act, which reorged them. They basically set up real estate divisions to basically syndicate real estate product. They created commercial banking arms for personal loans and business loans. And they created investment management divisions to be able to capture retirement monies and get assets under management. Very different business model, but based on regulation and market changes.
So they just basically niched it more to make people become, like, I guess, experts in that area rather than just like.
And they had to reorg, change the functions, change the product offerings within the company, and the investment banks had to become commercial banks, which was a cultural shift for them. So these companies can do that, yeah.
Do you think it had to do too with like overexposure in like one asset class?
Yeah, a lot of them were overexposed in derivatives. They had huge balance sheet, off-balance sheet exposures to derivative contracts and other poorly underwritten securities. And the Federal Reserve printed money, cleaned up all that stuff, threw it on their balance sheet. Within these companies, there is a certain culture, there's a certain industrial psychology within these companies. Managers understand not only individual psychologies of their employees, but also of their clients. They also understand group psychology of their clients and their employees. So the employees you have to understand, because employees sometimes become neurotic, psychotic, in the worst case scenario, pathological. It occurs. Because you're in an industrial environment. Basically working in an office building is not very different than working in a manufacturing plant. You're basically manufacturing financial services within an office building. You're manufacturing physical product in a manufacturing facility. They're both industrial. They both are susceptible to industrial psychological issues. Both for the benefit, if you understand the psychology, you can motivate people to do things and be highly creative and highly productive. So you have to understand not only individual, but also group psychologies. The worst is groupthink. That's the worst. Where you have charismatic leaders within a group that's jockeying for power and influence. and they're trying to influence everybody in the group to go along with their ideas so that they can get the rewards associated with pushing that product. So they're not really thinking about the best interest of the employees or the company or the clients as a fiduciary. They're thinking about their own self-interest. And they're trying to create groupthink to come up with products or services or outcomes that are suboptimal. Okay. Companies will change if they're forced to change. And usually they will change. Corporations are not known for being very active and reactive to changes in the marketplace. That's what startup companies are for. And if you can create a startup mentality within a larger company, then companies can react a lot quicker, which basically narrows the cognitive dissonance within the industrial psychological environment. We need to change to compete. Well, why aren't we changing? We're not changing fast enough because everybody's scared to change. They don't want to give up the current legacy revenue streams to basically sell off those divisions, to reorg, to go into new areas. Digital Realty just today sold off like $3 billion worth of their assets to a Singapore fund so that they could basically take that money, buy down the debt, and build new state-of-the-art data centers using other types of technologies. So they took a hit to their earnings per share, but they're going to make it back by redeploying the capital in more productive assets.
Like a loss in the short term, but when
There's loss in the short term, but a long term. Organizational change and restructuring is going to be the reaction by companies to these competitive pressures or these regulatory changes. Cultural leadership is key. You're not going to change the organizational structure of the firm if you can't motivate people internally to do it. The only way you can get people to do things, yes, you can pay them, but the other way is you have charisma. You have basically charismatic power. People respect you. They respect your knowledge. They respect your decisions. And basically people will respect you and trust you that you're going to make the right decision. So basically cultural leadership, particularly charismatic leadership, is key to creating these types of innovative environments. The leaders of the corporation, the leaders of the organization are going to be models for other people within the organization, and other people in the organization will try to emulate the leaders within the companies through the process of self-efficacy, because they see how successful these people are. They want to talk like them, they want to work like them, same education, same certifications, same dress, the same type of relationships. They go through, that's the self-efficacy process. And you'll fail at it, people fail at that, but these types of companies don't look at failure as failure or some kind of genetic predisposition. It's just a lack of information and a lack of trying. So going through the process, learning, perseverance, practice, keep going. They don't look at it as failure. They look at it, oh great, I failed, I learned, I'm going to do it again and succeed. Do it right the next time. So to be able to do this, to guide these companies, to be able to produce these effective products, test them, get them into the marketplace, get market share, generate revenue, maximize shareholder wealth, because you have to have a clearly defined strategy, clearly defined tactics with goals and objectives that are measurable, and you need operating plans. And everybody in the company's got to understand the strategic, tactical, and operating objectives of the company. If you have miscommunication, it's not going to work. Also, state-of-the-art companies now use enterprise resource planning systems, or ERPs, basically to document all of the knowledge as a knowledge base. Everything that they do within the company and they produce, they basically record and store. So that if all of a sudden the market changes, a problem comes up, they remember back, oh, we invented a product, or it's risk management strategy or software application 2 years ago, similar to that problem. What we're going to do is go back into the ERP, into the knowledge base. We're going to pull up all the documentation. We're going to reassemble the same team with some new members, and we're going to go after and design the new product. So very quickly I can assemble the team, and I can have basically a use case similar to the problem that we're trying to solve, and to be able to get into development and into production a lot quicker.
Oh, so they were like kinda already prepared for it?
They were already prepared.
Once the problem comes, they just fix it?
Yeah, oh, we see the similar problem, oh, that reminds me of the security or the strategy or
Yeah.
the software, the technology that we built last year. Let's get the same team together with some other people, let's go through the ERP, print out the documentation, go through it, solve the problem a lot quicker.
So it's like a storage software?
It's a knowledge base, and it manages resources and knows who worked on what, and what was worked on, and what was successful, what wasn't, you know, what was profitable, what wasn't profitable. It's basically a knowledge system.
So it's an inward facing CRM.
Yeah, it basically manages your internal resources. Next is going to be, after you have this set up, you can start the product and process innovation. You can start with the product and process innovation. So the first thing in product and process innovation is you have to be able to recognize the wants and the needs of the market of your clients. So you're constantly listening to what your clients are telling you. Then in the product development phase, you're actually developing products. This has to be done on an ongoing basis, and you have to have a designated research and development group with financial engineers, programmers, data scientists, economists, market analysts, marketing people, you know, that are constantly looking for problems in the marketplace, looking for opportunities, and saying, okay, we found the opportunity, now let's design it with a design team, let's build the product, let's design the product with the attributes that are gonna solve the problems, just like your cell phone, and then let's test it, let's do a beta of the product, let's do focus groups or whatever it takes to test it, and then let's get it into production. Once we get it into production, and we manufacture it, we fine tune the attributes, we standardize it, and then we start to distribute it through our distribution and our marketing channels. If our channels, the question is, do we have the production facility already set up? Do we have the manufacturing and production capabilities internal to the firm? Do we have the distribution channels already set up within the firm? If we don't, if we already have them existing, great. We may need to build it, and we may need to buy it. Probably cheaper to buy it. So we start looking in the marketplace to go buy the manufacturing and production team or the distribution channels through some other company, either private or public. And then you're gonna have to do some net present value, internal rate of return decisions when you decide if you're gonna buy or build new capabilities, because you're gonna have to have a return on your investments. Channel distribution. What are the different channels in which you're gonna distribute your products? Do you have existing branches in which you're gonna distribute the products through? Are you gonna distribute them through the registered investment advisor network that way? Are you gonna distribute them through the private network of family offices? How are you gonna distribute the products or the solutions, and what's the mix gonna be? That optimizes the revenue. So it's an optimization solution. Then you're gonna have to figure out what your supplier network is. Do you actually have some of the inputs that you need to build the product and then manufacture it and distribute it? So you might have to have a supplier chain or a supplier network, and a mix of those suppliers within your networks and optimize that. So you're optimizing the inputs, okay, within the product manufacturing process. Then once you've perfected the product and it's ready for distribution, you need a business development team that's going to go out and sell enterprise level solutions to the marketplace. You need to deploy marketing and sales people, and you got to get the budgets, and you got to educate the sales staff, you know, on the product attributes and the solutions that the products are going to sell. They got to know what they're selling. And then you need the marketing research, okay, and you need the marketing mix. So the marketing research is going to identify the market segments in which you're going to sell the product or products into. From those market segments, you're going to have target markets, and you're going to figure out the advertising and marketing strategies to those target markets. The target markets of your products or processes or software or technology, whatever it is, could be based on psychographic designations, demographic segmentations, age, gender, race, income, geographic location, industry segments, size of firms. I want to target, providing 401k solutions to, small cap companies in the technology industry. So you become very focused. Or geographic areas. I want to be in the top 10 metro areas. I want to be in the coastal markets. I want to be in the top 20 global money center locations. So you got to figure out geography too. Once you've figured out the target markets, then you can design the advertising campaigns and the advertising mix. If I'm targeting mostly retail clients for my exchange traded funds, just look at what Schwab did. Schwab does radio, TV, newspapers, social media, all kinds of, advertising, distribution, marketing channels.
You got the budget.
And they got the budget to do it. What's the goal and objective from these marketing campaigns is to drive traffic, to drive prospects to your company so that the salespeople are there to be able to handle those calls, handle the emails, make the calls, get in front of the clients, to drive fee revenue. We want to sell product. I want to sell annuities. I want to sell life insurance products. I get fees. We generate fees on the sale of those products. If I'm in investment management, I want to drive assets under management so I can charge an asset management fee. The more assets I have, I don't even really care about the fee level. The higher the assets that I have under management times that fee, I'm going to get fee revenue. Your sales staff has to be prospecting clients. When you do the advertising, you're basically prospecting for clients. Advertising will bring clients in. Your sales staff will be prospecting clients at events, holding events, campaigns, mailers, advertising, TV, whatever it takes to get people to respond to whatever you're selling. The idea is to get a client, prospect a client, get in front of the client, communicate with the client, talk to the client, get the client interested in either fear or greed, convert the client to a sale, and do it again. Okay? It's the sales process. Okay? So once you've got a client, you've got them locked in. Once you've got a client that likes you and you have a relationship with them, what can you do with them next? Sell them more products. Got it. Now, is the goal to sell them a bunch of small fees products or large fee product? Do you want to be selling to small clients with little money, or do you want to be selling to clients with a lot of money? A lot of money or a lot of employees? How much time do you have?
We're 5 minutes over.
Am I? Okay. So take a picture of that, we'll do this. And the last thing is the prospecting and the conversion. Then it loops back into customer service, calling the clients, listening to them, and then doing it all over again.
So I was
No, I mean like for the.
Yeah, I know, we're gonna find it after Tuesday.
Oh, it's a new certification.
This girl's
Yeah,
keep
there's like
doing
the
it yesterday.
CFO, there's all kinds of
I
stuff.
literally work till 6:30.
on my resume.